Hello and welcome back to Karsten Uncut. Today from the end of the world. This place here is called Finisterre. Somewhere behind me there would be America and a few thousand miles further down the sea. But what's more interesting, this was supposed to be really believed to be the end of the world. Sailors were not going towards the end of the horizon because they were afraid that they would fall off. And it was only 500 years ago when Magellan and Juan Sebastián Elcano found out that they could actually circumvent the Earth, and the Earth was actually around 500 years ago only. Until then, people were afraid. Those two men were not only brave sailors, but they were also innovators, because they thought that there must be something else that could be done. It reminds me a lot of a quote a good friend of mine, Ralph, sent me the other day on LinkedIn, where it said, "The silent death of innovation." And I see that actually lately very, very often. And I see very often that customers and also partners are thinking more about all the possible risks and their personal risk, right? What if I take a decision now and I'm wrong? How will I be looked at? Will I risk my job? And the most important thing is maybe yes, but what if you don't do anything? What will actually change if you don't do anything? If you do not innovate, if you do not take that risk, will anything actually get better by itself? I would leave that as an open question. There is what I call the book of 1001 reasons to not do something or not innovate. And the first one that always comes to my mind is, oh, it's not the right time right now. Of course. Why would it not be the right time? I mean, what is actually making it the right time to innovate on something? Is the right time that you have time, or that your business is working perfectly? Because when the business is perfectly, there is somebody that always says, never touch a running system. Everything works so perfect, so why should we start to change or innovate something right now? It is really more the times of adversity where people should and do innovate because they need to find new ways of doing something. I think there is really a big risk of it's not the right time right now, but it's an argument I hear ever so often. My next all-time great is absolutely the who has done this before. Well, let's just think about what innovation means. It typically means that nobody has done this before. You get to be the first one. And yes, you get to carry a risk, but you get also to carry the reward if you succeed. So if you have the right idea, do the right things, the probability that you get a very high reward because you will be a market-making mover is very high. Reminding me of the famous example that happened here not too far away in a town called A Coruña, where in 1975 a person called Amancio Ortega founded a fashion store called Zara. The very first Zara store ever was opened in Coruña. It took them more than 10 years to open their first store in Madrid. And now in 2025 they have more than 160,000 employees globally with more than, I think, 1,300 stores. He started with an idea to make cool fashion at an affordable price with fast rotation available to a broader public. Guess what? He was successful. Nobody would have believed in it probably at that time, but here we are, he was successful. So being the first gives you a big advantage. You need to take the risk. That's the only downside of it. The other one that I see very often is, right now especially in Europe, the whole topic of sovereignty. Oh yeah, I would love to do this, but we really have to think about sovereignty first. And of course, sovereignty is something super important, and I would never ever deny that, especially in a world where you do not know what happens really tomorrow. But on the other side, is that the only worry that you really have in your business? Do you not worry like where and how can you sell your products in a world that can change immediately tomorrow? Also, if that case really happens with sovereignty, how will you actually get chips? Because last time I checked, all the chip makers are actually American companies. And even operating systems are being held and managed under American law. So if that case really happens, your problem is much bigger. And I don't think that this case really happens, but it's being used as an excuse to not do something. And I think that's really a pity, because right now we are really at another time to sail towards the horizon and find out what is behind there, what is actually possible with technology, and what is possible with the innovation power that we all have in us. Innovation does not grow in a committee or in long meetings where you decide on A, B, C, or D, and then see who might be actually willing to take the risk. Innovation only grows when people are willing to stand up and say, this is the way we should be going. I'm willing to take the risk. And they take also the reward, and they should be getting the reward when they do that. But it does not live in fear, and that's why I will always encourage you to not be afraid. Always be the one that stands up and says, hey, I have an idea. Hey, I think we can do this a little bit differently. Hey, I think maybe we're not doing the right thing. What can actually really, really happen to you? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I hope you enjoy this beautiful view from Finisterre in Galicia. It's definitely a place to visit beside that. Thank you for joining Carsten and Kat, and I'm looking forward to speak to you soon again. Thank you.